Okay.
How many speakers are there? Big board.
Whoever makes the big board. What is that?
Lily, where are you? This is awesome.
I'm just going to be in my little circle here.
Hey,
Don't tell me what to do. Okay.
Good job.
6 speakers are your
Look at your sheet.
Good job, man. Wow.
We have 5 speakers.
So you didn't do your research.
Are you studying?
We have 5
Guess what?
speakers. This.
No, sit right there.
There you go, Derek.
No, we have 6 speakers.
We're going to review.
Okay.
All right, let's move to the left of you folks. Let's go, let's go.
Already been in the bathroom, man.
That negative energy.
Why?
You're like affecting my
Every 3 times.
Sierra needs a timer.
I'm going to put it on the board. Okay. Okay, so we have our speakers in place. Correct?
Yes.
We have our evaluators, we have our coaches in place. We've gotten a little bit rusty since last time with our desk arrangement, but that's okay.
That's okay. So,
Let's look at, let me show you this really quickly since our times changed today. Okay, I do, I'm going to give it to you. Our times changed today, right? I just received the schedule for today this morning because of the school change. So just really quickly on your sheet, just make adjustments for time.
You started.
And we're eating. What did we do?
What sheet?
the sheet that we just got.
Yes, make sure you picked up one of the sheets in the front.
Can you give me one? Can you give me one?
Where is it? Right here.
I did not pick one up.
Stack.
Okay?
I still do that papers. Like, I feel important.
Okay, everybody get those times down. Sorry, the time is a little crunched now, but we will make it work.
We're all crunched today.
I know. We'll make it work.
Okay, let me do it.
Crunched hard. Hey, I'm not in need. Where are we right now?
Oh, all right, Brenda. Adjustment made.
That's why I thought we had 6.
Adjustment made. Okay.
Would you really do that?
I think they didn't ring this bell until a little bit later as well, so we may have to adjust for that. Ooh, we will have to adjust for that. Okay, so we may only be getting through part 1 today, but that's okay. Just get the times down. We'll have them for tomorrow.
Go find it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go back. Take a couple minutes to refresh here. Okay, so today's objective, like we talked about yesterday, right? We're going to continue to practice close reading and composition, right, with all of the articles that we've discussed. And our effort today is to foster meaningful discussion, as we always do. Our questions, which you do have as well on your sheet, okay? By what means do we acquire education? What makes a person educated? And who decides? Who decides what an education is? Who decides who is educated? And to what extent do our schools serve the goals of a true education? Okay, you should have these on your sheet.
When it says our schools, does that apply just high school or college, or is that what is?
All of the above.
Okay.
You take it where you'd like to take that.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, so beyond that, your supporting texts for today. Make sure you have these. Lily, I got you. Okay, Frederick Douglass, Learning to Read and Write. Malcolm X, Learning to Read. Prose, I Know Why the Caged Bird Cannot Read, right? That was in your textbook. And I added To Kill a Mockingbird, the excerpt. That was on the I Know Why the Caged Bird Cannot Read handout, right? Because I thought we might want to address a few things that Scout talked about there. And then also Amanda Ripley, the Ask the Kids video. Remember, we had different students talk about their experience with education. And some of them, their global experience that a lot of us were intrigued by. Okay, so use these resources to think in broader terms. Remember, we want to take it beyond just learning to read and write, but like, how does this actually happen? What does it look like for your life in the future and for who you are as a person? Should this relate to morals, to knowledge, to wisdom? Or should this just be, in class, the physical act of learning to be literate? Okay, the impact of our educational system, the future of our country with this as well. I know you guys have had some ideas about, when the students talked about their global experiences, right, being foreign exchange students or their time abroad, and some of you have had some strong opinions about education in America. Okay, so feel free to explore those as well. I think the next slide is mine. Okay, we'll get there. All right. So our time again is now 11:34. So this has changed. We're going to cut it down slightly. But either way, we'll go 15 minutes. Are we ready? Any questions? Any questions? I know Derek wasn't here yesterday. So you're a general evaluator. You have your sheets. Everybody have your sheets. I have some extras.
So what's priority on this package right now? Get the first one, do anything?
Priority to get done is for you to be tracking your speaker.
Wait, so this needs to be done by
The chart. Yes, sir. To be tracking the chart.
So you just write down whatever.
Tyler, I know this is your first Socratic seminar. I'll come back and assist you a little bit more.
Which is like tracking on the chart, and then everything else is done.
Be aggressive. Be
Good tips, Ty. What do you mean by that?
Aggressive. Be adamant.
We want to hear some heated debate here, right? We don't just need agreements. Okay, makes it more interesting. We ready?
All right.
Tiara's ready at the big board?
Big board!
Big board! Okay, let's do it. And go.
Okay, class. I have a question for you all. I wonder, what means do we acquire education? What does it mean to have a education?
You know what? I think that is a great question, Mr. Daniel, and I would like to redirect that question to the operations, sir. I feel like you would be.
I don't know. I feel like you totally cut Josh off when you were saying
Yeah,
that.
he was.
No offense, but
Well, basically just get an education because someone tells you, this is right, this is fact. You have to trust. It takes a certain amount of trust in a student-teacher relationship. You have to, really trust the information that they're giving. I guess.
I mean, I like where you're going with it, but I feel like even if it's like an education that's like beyond like a teacher, like for example, if I'm just Googling something, granted I trust the source, and that also implies, if you learn stuff through experiences or whatever, you trust your own experiences in that case, because I think education can be acquired through a lot of means.
Yeah, and again, we go back to the whole thing about what is education, because if you define education by anything, then there's only certain ways that you can acquire that certain education. Meaning like school, you come here to school and learn it. I mean, you couldn't exactly learn everything you learn in a math class just outside by yourself. So again, you have to go back to what is education, and then we can find out how we acquire it.
Are you saying that you can't learn it by yourself?
No, I'm saying that there's different types of education, not just a certain one. Like, what was your word yesterday?
Academia.
No.
I think that, well, I think that when it comes down to defining education, like my personal opinion understand is that an education would require you be functional in a society. I mean, my dad doesn't exactly have an education. He was pulled out of school before, I think, the 6th grade. He can't do anything. He sits at home and watches the news all day. And, I mean, I feel like an education would require you to have something to do with the way the world works and your contribution to the world around you.
I agree with Lily because, like she said, that's a certain type of education. I would think, like, if you wanted to go work as an architect somewhere, you have to go, high school and then college and get his degree in architecture, whatever, in order to get. But see, then again, if you wanted to be a farmer, you'd have to go through another means of education to get to be a farmer and contribute your part to society.
My brother dropped out of school before 6th grade, and he is pretty successful in what he does, and he didn't necessarily need the education that we receive today in order to be successful in his own life.
Like, in my opinion, I feel like an education is not described by that, but by your ability to take information and interpret it in your own way, and to learn pretty much anything in any experience that you'll be able to learn and apply that to your life.
I think it's more intelligence than anything. I think your intelligence would relate to how much education you can receive or whatever. Granted, I'm not saying that's like a big number, but I think that's the wrong word personally. Magical door.
I think education is also learning or getting things from what you learn, just like simple things, just like saying, if I go underwater, or if I go into a pool of water and I can't swim, I will die. So knowing that you have to swim and adapting that little thing to your life makes you educated.
But see, there's a difference between education and common sense. Like,
No, I mean, I believe that there's common sense, but you can't learn things unless you just learn them.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
think about it, a baby doesn't know not to go jump into the pool.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you have
That's
to
something
learn.
they have to learn.
And then adapt that to your life, and therefore make you knowledgeable and educated. Just like what we're learning here, we can take to the outside world.
And you can think about that too. What is our definition of common sense?
I feel like common sense contributes to education, or vice versa.
I disagree. For example, I have tons of education. I have no common sense. I'm stupid. And most of my education is learned from me making mistakes. Stupid people learn from making mistakes. And all of you are stupid. All of you make mistakes. Even this Tom. She makes mistakes. Is she? Well, I'm saying I think everybody is
Human.
maybe
and
just clarify.
imperfect
Well, I
would be
mean-
the more appropriate
I think
word.
probably.
Your definition of
Human.
stupid.
That's a good-
Stupid
that's a-
can mean anything.
I mean, true. But I think because I think it can be perceived through a lot of mediums, whether making mistakes or reading a book or someone telling you, hey, did you know this thing?
but our education is also derived from the application of it. Like, you use it. You get better at something by applying it to your life and taking it into your life.
Next one, Daniel.
I feel like there are things that come naturally and don't exactly require application of the skill.
No, I'm like, it's got to be we're born thinking it.
And with that, some people can pick up something more naturally. Like, I learned how to swim very easily, but I know, like, my sister can barely swim. She's had to been taught. I just learned.
And then you hear of prodigies that are able to pick things up like it's nobody's business.
I feel like it depends on the person with that.
So what would make a person educated though? What would be defined educated as being?
I feel like it would just be applying everything that you learn and adapting it into your life, making you who you are as well.
And in order to make you successful, I feel like. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to-
No, I was just saying. I just wanted to hear somebody say apply application.
I think it's more so not necessarily what you apply, but I think education is more so a self-fulfillment. I think who decides if you're educated or not? I think it's an effort based on yourself. I could say I'm educated, and I would think I'm educated. I think it's more so like I said, a self-fulfillment. You all could say, Daniel, you're not educated at all, but I could take that and figure out, am I educated or not? That's the decision I make on my own efforts. And I think everybody can be. I think being educated is something that you say to yourself, but other people need proof, and there are many different types. A piece of paper that has a degree, something cool I can tell you about space, or hey, check out this cool thing I can do with my fingers. Like, I think it's through the proof is through like a medium sort of.
Speaking of proof, textual evidence
Yes.
is helpful.
That's true.
Now, if I can cut in on what you said that we need to have, or that to other people, if I say I'm educated and you're like, well, I mean, where's your degree at, or how do you know how to do this? How would you prove that to yourself? If you say I'm educated, how would I be like, okay, Brenda, how do I prove it to myself that I'm educated?
I think it's the same way as you prove it to other people, except kind of like in your own head. Like, ask yourself, can I take, for example, it's not necessarily a skill, but take the skill, let's say, I don't know, badminton. Say, do I know badminton? Yes, it's a decision you make to yourself. Kind of like how you would say to other people, like, here, I know how to do this and this and this. I know how to play badminton with one foot top on that.
But then it would be kind of like what I said. You know, applying those skills to your life and like making them work out for you. Just so like if I said, okay, I'm a farmer, I'm gonna show you how to grow corn or whatever, I would show you how to do it. You know, that's another form of showing you how, or my education.
But a lot of people are self-educated as well. Like, not necessarily in like these school, setting, but like in life, people teach themselves. They learn from their mistakes. And like Malcolm X, or maybe not Malcolm X, maybe it was Frederick Douglass taught himself to read and write because he did not have the
teachers and the resources that we
resources to
And-
acquire education.
And back to what Daniel said, I finally found it, but about being self-fulfilled. If you look in Malcolm X on page 2, in the first paragraph it says, "I woke up the next morning thinking about those words, immensely proud to realize that not only had I written so much at one time, but I had written words that I never knew were in the world." So to me, that's showing that he feels proud. He's very self-fulfilled now, and that shows that he feels as though he's more educated now. Back to what you were saying about, in your opinion,
Yeah.
for yourself.
Josh, what do you think? I'm sorry to cut you off. Josh, I'm talking a while. What do you think, Josh? You don't talk a while. Hear your voice.
Well, think about like when humanity, human civilization, probably, first started, in the wilderness, and we didn't have houses, we didn't have towns, we didn't have cities, we didn't have planes and trains and cars, we didn't even have swords, and like they were just like, we slowly over generations found what fruits were good to eat, what fruits would give us poison, food poison, and and that's kind of become sort of a database of human knowledge, innate knowledge, and this is kind of the human knowledge has obviously grown exponentially since then, and people can draw upon this innate knowledge, to say, hey, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't, throw myself into a pool of water that I can't swim, or fire's bad,
We
this hurts me.
didn't always know that. We had to somehow learn,
Yeah.
and then we taught our children that. We continue to teach our children that.
So I
Continue
feel
to
like
expand our knowledge.
I feel like again, like every other seminar that we had, we can't come to a conclusion of what education is or how we require it. Because just like, what's this thing?
It's called constantly changing over generations.
Yeah, he even said, like, you know, he himself found himself how to read. But then right here he's saying, as I withered under it, I would feel at times that learning to read had been a curse rather than a blessing. It had given me the view of my wretched condition without remedy. So, you know, by him his education is reading, but like, it came to reality, you know, he knew what was going on, and he didn't like it.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss.
So maybe in education more so is understanding the world around you. I think through any means possible. Whether that's for figuring out the fire's bad or drowning. I think a true education is your way of understanding the world around you and how you fit into this little blue dot in space.
Okay with that.
And I feel like our society's definition of education changes with each generation because back in Frederick Douglass's time, if you could read and write, you were something special. You were, yeah, you were the stuff. But now, today, and like in my mom and dad's time, kind of, it was if you had a high school diploma, you were educated. And now it's if you have a college diploma, you're educated. What's it going to be like next generation? You have to have a PhD, and then you're educated.
Education evolutionizes. Like it's evolving.
It's evolving.
That was a good little thing there.
The first teachers, they never went to school. They had to learn from life, and then they took this knowledge, and they taught their students this, what they learned through life, and these students would teach their students, and these students would teach their students. And so really it's kind of it's an evolutionary, it's an evolving thing.
What I'm wondering is how do schools today figure out how to teach us? Do they do it well? To give us an education, how well do you think they actually achieve in schools?
Not very well.
Trial and error.
I mean, I think it's alright.
Trial and error.
Yeah, I think it's.
Whatever gets us the highest score or whatever gets us an A.
Because like we talked about in Mr. Hogan's class, you know how they changed the curriculum in like upcoming 1900s, beginning of the 1900s, they changed the high school curriculum as well as college one. And I feel like they keep on doing that, just
Just to see
depending
what
on
works
how
better.
it's going.
Like if something's not working out, if everybody's still stupid, then they're gonna change it to try and make us not as stupid.
The one thing I disagree with mostly, I think, is that there's a certain standardization to it that I really don't like. Because I think everybody's different. Everybody learns different ways. But, the quote I heard that really says it well is if you judge a fish, how smart a fish is by its ability to climb a tree, is going to live its whole life thinking it's stupid because fish can't climb a tree. If this fish can climb a tree, please let me.
That was great. That was really
Time.
good. I saw that.
We were good there. Okay, good job, first round. Okay, coaches, get with your speakers, general evaluators, make sure you have your notes. I'll come around and help if necessary. Also remember, you're looking for their use of transitions, their use of textual evidence, okay? So let's talk to them about that.
That's really my thing. What do I mean? I'm pretty good at throwing out. Are you trying to tell me that I'm not educated? Are you trying to set my educational standards based on how I talk?
Are we doing good?
Argue with you.
All right, Tiara, let's see what you got on the big board. Okay, so some summaries here of what we've been talking about.
At first I thought you were
I do better at reading.
Punch. Miss Thompson, he's trying to set my educational standards. He really is. I'm about to punch you.
He's trying to set your standards?
Yeah,
What
like,
does that mean?
like he's trying to like set and be like, why this is how you need to talk. And I'm like down here, and he's trying to get me to move here, and I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable.
He is coaching you.
He sucks. He sucks. He sucks.
Because I expect more out of you.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Mom.
Okay, I saw you had some good notes out here.
So then I will impress you.
Yeah.
Okay, just a little bit more time. We're gonna jump back in.
So you have some.
The transition.
Yes, ma'am. Are we struggling? Right here. Here. She should be.
Would be stupid.
So is she saying? More application. I'm sorry. Absolutely.
Start writing like under the question.
That works. You can have extra paper as well.
I'm not under pressure. I'm just
I know. I saw Daniel keep talking to Omar.
get the sense now. Oh, in the squad. The squad that you're not in. I feel pretty like bad. I feel neglected.
What's that?
I feel neglected.
Like,
Why?
I said it, I think everyone's stupid. It's like,
Can this be tag team? Can I like tag her out? Can we jump in?
Oh, you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow.
what happens tomorrow?
Everybody.
If you bring in too many people, can you make it name topic?
Wait, if I bring it in, I can talk.
No, I mean, you try. Either way, you're gonna talk.
Okay.
Just so you.
All right, guys, really quickly, let's bring it back. Okay, our second session here is going to be a mini, very mini session. So everything you want to say, we're going to have to break down in about close to 5 minutes, just because our time got cut short today, so I apologize. But remember, tomorrow, 2 cents discussion. So everyone bring your points, your 2 cents. Remember, your 2 pennies and your 2 points. You can bring more than 2 cents, but that doesn't mean you're going to get time for that.
Wait.
Yes, you can.
I have to pay
Okay,
this off.
really quickly, I wanted to say one thing here before we jump back in. One point I haven't heard us reference yet that's huge in these articles is the idea of citizenship, right? So Malcolm X, Frederick Douglass, every time that when they became educated, it wasn't simply for the sake of an education, right? But they were taking it to a larger degree. Like, how does it affect the world around them? How did they affect the world around them? Right? Malcolm X even talks about that in kind of the last couple of pages of the article, as well as Frederick Douglass, right? Remember what he did after learning to read and write. So it's not just the education, but what it empowers us to do. I want to have that conversation. You guys with me? Okay? All right, we ready? Again, I'm going to cut it short a little bit. In fact, I think I'm going to cut it down to about 4 minutes. I want to have time to debrief. So get your points in, be swift. You ready, Tiara?
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay, so she just mentioned citizenship, but before we jump into that, I want to make a quick point before I forget on ignorance is bliss. In Frederick Douglass's excerpt, whatever we call it, he was talking about how he envied his fellow slaves for their stupidity, and he said anything no matter what to get rid of thinking, and he wanted the education, he went out to go get it himself, but once he got it, he realized how much of a burden the education, like having that education was. So, when it comes down to ignorance is bliss, I feel like, your idea of the world around you depends on how much you appreciate your education. It's not a matter of being ignorant and being happy that you're ignorant, it's a matter of you see the world for what it is, and it's just not what you were expecting as well.
And just to play off of that, I'm going to point out on Malcolm X, he talks about where he started reading and he saw how the whole world's white men had indeed acted like devils. And he's talking about, he's coming to realize what's going on, but he really doesn't become miserable about it. He becomes angry about it and he tries to do something about it. He tries to change that.
Right. So it comes to the question again that Ms. Thompson asked, what does education do for us? What do we do once we acquire that education?
Be quiet.
Oh.
Through making the world better than how we understand it now. I mean, I have like with
Or attempting to do so.
yeah, at least
Sometimes
to
it's gonna
it,
get
so.
worse.
Yeah.
I mean, with the education that we have, we could go out and do so much with it, but it's just a matter of what we choose to do with it. And what we choose to do with it could like burn the world down, or it could just make it a better place for everybody.
Give examples of how that's been done before.
Josh, what were you gonna say? I thought you were gonna say.
I suppose, what we're getting to here is we can either, leave the world a better place than, it was when we got here, or to, burn it up.
I really think that's the only two options.
Yeah. Or they're just, go to Mars. Burn
You know, some
Mars
people
up.
that choose to leave it alone
No, I
don't really
can't
care
burn.
either way.
Those are what we call them on a log.
But I mean, if everyone thinks about it, what these people did not only helped everything, play out with slavery. I mean, that was a big change, honestly, if you think about it. You come to having these people working for you, to them being free, and then having them have the same rights as you. That does change society. Are we improving and evolving, or are we making it better, or are we making it worse?
But see, there are probably more people like these, like Malcolm X and Frederick Douglass, that did not get the recognition that they deserve. So it all comes down to opportunity. Like, do you have the opportunity to use your education?
Well, are you saying like that, the education requires recognition? Or does it earn recognition?
And if it does, it's just a matter of to what extent you choose. To
I don't think it
like what
deserves
standard you
recognition.
hold yourself to.
I don't think it really deserves the recognition. Granted, if it does, then whoopsie freaking do. But if I don't know, I just don't think it really does require any sort of
I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it requires the recognition, but why did these two men out of several slaves get chosen to tell their story? Like, why did they get the opportunity?
Because they did so much for themselves.
And on that note, let's call time. Okay, good job, folks.
Close.
Good job today. Okay, again, unfortunately, our time is cut
You need something good that I can like push on.
short, but really quickly, before we move desks, let me get your attention really quickly. Really quickly. Okay, looking ahead. I was going to add some notes here from today, but you know what? We'll add them tomorrow for our 2 cents discussion. Complete your source grid for your time to write next week. So that source grid I gave you yesterday. Darren, if you weren't here, I'll get yours. We will continue our discussion, the 2 cents brief, tomorrow. Who could tell me which text we did not use? Prose article, yes. So we need to address that prose article, which is talking about, give me a brief.
Talked about the high
How
school.
teachers aren't doing their job right.
Or about how
And we're
books
Too simplistic.
how
Simplistic text. So the diversity of text that we read and what's really meaningful, right? So we'll start there with our 2 cents brief. Again, if you would like to kind of reference Tiara's notes here. Thank you, Tiara, for being our big board writer today.
Good job, big board. Good job, big board.
Okay, I'll take a picture. I'll put it on Moodle along with the video. Okay, so you can analyze and scrutinize and figure out what happened today. You general evaluators, reference the video to finish your handouts, because I know it goes quickly. All right, let's get the room back.
I'm just trying to pass that.
No, you hold those for tomorrow. Yeah, hold on to all your coaching sheets, your self-assessments, transition guides, all of it for tomorrow, because we're going to continue, just in a different format. These right here. Yeah, the group. Not sure what.
We have a competition.
Oh, okay. Is that
Whoa!
okay? What? We're good. You're done for the day.
I'm not gonna complain.
Hey, are we back in order here?
No.
No, not really.
Not entirely.
Hey,
Tiara, give me a hand. Woo! Crunched for time today. We did good though. We did very well.
We've been doing rows or groups.
That seemed fun.
Yes, you did.